Hey guys, James Reeves with TFBTV SHOT Show 2022. I'm at the Surefire booth with my best friend, Goose. Now, you guys know Andrew. You guys have seen him before on prior TFBTV content. He works for the greatest flashlight manufacturer on the face of the earth, Surefire. And you guys have some new stuff this year. We're talking about Turbo, right?
That's right, Turbo Series. Yeah, man, so this is our entire new Turbo Series line of lights. As we were talking about earlier, there's been a demand or an increased demand for lights that push out further in distances and have a higher candela rating. If you're not familiar with what candela is, lumens basically are a measurement of brightness, but doesn't necessarily tell you how far a light's going to go. So you can have two 500 lumen lights with a different beam pattern with different optics. One can be a floodlight that doesn't go very far, and one can be a spotlight and goes very far, but they're the same output in lumens. Candela is basically the measurement of distance that it'll go. So that being said, these lights are all our Turbo Series high candela lights. So Turbo Series is a throwback to our older Turbo Series heads. We had these 2.5 and 3.5 inch Turbo Series weapon lights, handheld lights, for many, many years since the 90s. And so this is a throwback because that's exactly what those were for, far-reaching narrow beam patterns. So we have the Scout Light Pro Turbo Series, both a 18650, the first one, the larger full-size version, that can take two 123s as well. And then we have the Mini Scout Turbo Series, which is a 18350 battery or a 123, and they're both 71,000 candela. So super good performance on those. We also have handgun Turbo Series weapon lights, the X300 that everybody knows, and the X400, and these are offered in both mounts, the A and the B version. Now, the X300s, we kept the same form factor, the same size, dimensions, so that holster compatibility wouldn't be an issue.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So it's slightly less candela than the bigger bezel assemblies from the Scout lights. But these are 50,000 candela, still super, super formidable, especially considering handgun weapon lights. And then lastly, we have our EDC Turbo Series lights. So 1 and 2, meaning this is a 18650 or 2 123 light, and this is an 18350 or 1 123 powered light. And these are 71,000 candela as well.
And let me ask you then about this, because I'm familiar with candela, but when you say to me 50,000 candela, 70,000 candela, like I'm not getting a concept of distance, mainly because I'm an idiot, but also because of my unfamiliarity with candela. So what are we talking about, like the normal, like a normal Mini Scout? What's the candela? What kind of throw am I getting from that versus this one and what I can expect? Like translate for me comparatively, like what we have with your prior designs, and break it down into like real distance numbers for me so guys like me can understand out there.
Yeah, that's a good point. So as a reference, not everybody, but most people understand what the X300
Everybody is cool.
Right. X300 Ultra beam pattern looks like, about what it does performance-wise. That's about 12,000 candela for reference.
Okay.
Good point, though. We've talked about doing distance measuring. It gets tricky with how many variables there are, light conditions, ambient light, eyes, all that stuff. It gets tricky to put a distance on a light. But for reference, like I said, standard X300 Ultra current production, about 12,000 candela. Mm-hmm. These guys are at 71,000 and 50,000 candela, respectively.
Does that translate then? So if I'm thinking 12,000 versus like 70,000, does that mean that it's going to go 6 times further?
Not quite. No, not quite. That's a good question, man. You've stumped me. I'm not going to answer.
I refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that, Andrew.
I am a staunch believer. I see so many people talk about things they don't know about that. I mean, I've done this before, but when you ask me a question I don't know the answer, I'm just going to say.
And that's why I love.
I don't know. I'll find out. But no, I know for a fact just by seeing them, it's not going to be 6 times the distance, but it's a significant amount of more performance. So the advantages, I mean, benefits wise, like what does it do for you? I think that's what you're kind of getting at. Law enforcement have been using, tighter focus beam patterns to punch through tinted windows on vehicles. Maybe you have a little bit more control over a subject by directing the focus of the beam in a really concentrated spot. So for specific applications, it can be extremely advantageous. This isn't going to replace our standard beam patterns. This is just an additional offering.
Right.
So our standard Scout lights, our standard X300s, they'll all still be in existence. But this is just a new line so that if you have that mission set, then we have an option for you.
You won't want to punch through my tinted windows. you would not like what you find on the other side of that. Yeah. What are we talking about for release date and price for everything? I know that this is a big one. We got 6 items here.
Yeah, it's all over the place. So For the Scout lights, they're going to be a little bit more than the standard Scout lights, which are priced at about $330 right now. So you'll be around the $350 price point for the Scouts, for the X300. And the increases are across the board on the handhelds. We haven't priced them exactly just yet, but it's looking like it's going to be about that. Release dates are March. We're actually going to try and trickle some out before that throughout the first quarter, but the goal is to have them on dealer shelves by mid-March.
Okay. And that's for the entire lineup?
For the entire Turbo Series lineup.
And did we do pricing on these two? My interpretation was these are $300 and this is...
Yeah, so Scout lights are going to be about the $350 mark. TBD, I don't want to put a number on it. TBD, I don't want to put a number on it.
Okay, very good. With the visual cue, made things a lot easier. Yeah, I know. You're pro, Andrew. That's why I love having you on the program. It's always great to see what you guys are bringing. I mean, because
you feed me the material, man.
Shut up. Nah, I mean, I enjoy what you guys do, and that's a lot of what I like about SHOT Show. For me, this is fun. Absolutely. I enjoy your product. I like you guys personally, so it's fun to come over here, drink some Coke Zeros, shoot the shit about some new lights.
Absolutely.
And get the rundown from you.
Absolutely. So. I missed one light. I don't know if you want to touch on it. We're already there. XSCB, you're very familiar. We were just talking about XSC. Those were our micro compact lights. We had 3 variants for different pistols. So there's the XSC P365. There's one for the slimline Glocks, the 4348 MOS. And there's one for the Hellcats from Springfield. This is the 4th offering for subcompact pistols. Right here, it's on a Smith Wesson M&P subcompact. So worth mentioning, there's been some requests for this, and so now we have an option available for people looking for that.
Great stuff as usual. Andrew, thanks a ton, man.
Thank you for
I
stopping
always
by.
love it.
Appreciate
Guys, thanks for tuning in. God, right at the end, I inhaled a piece of that Alka-Seltzer. That's going to be in the video.